up?
All right. I think I'm at a point where some expectations or doubts or something in that category are starting to either trip me up or make it harder to commit to looking at certain things. Um, so hoping that you might be able to just kind of crush or cut through those in some sort of decisive way, or point out which parts of it are valid or are not valid so that I don't keep going in doubt loops, I guess.
You're
Uh,
gonna crush it with your seeing, not me.
Right, right. And yeah, feel free to be very direct. I might need to take a couple attempts to put it into words just because, so I might borrow your words or other words. I don't know how to describe things without it sounding very conceptual, but what I'm describing is very experiential, but you can check in if it sounds otherwise.
Okay.
Uh, so basically, like even right now, more and more uh, can kind of just look at what's happening directly. So noticing sight, sound, sensations. Sensations is a big one, um, whether it's for the body or whether it's kind of a general sense of what seems to be giving thoughts importance. And the more that happens in more situations, the more whatever's happening doesn't feel personal.
Hmm.
Um, but
The way you've been looking at stuff and putting it in the group, as you keep going, it should start to feel more and more impersonal. So it sounds good.
okay. So yeah, let me try to think about how to phrase where I feel stuck or hesitant. It's there's a recurring theme. I think I wrote about this once of expecting that things should change when they're seen clearly. And then this has happened enough times that I should just have dropped that expectation, but it hasn't happened, of seeing that nothing about the experience itself changes. It's just there's no longer an identification through needing it to be a certain way because it's not me. So to try to give a more concrete example, anxiety is a thing that's come up a lot with work. And there's always this really strong hope of, oh, the anxiety will dissipate or I won't be anxious anymore. But then if it's seen in a very literal sense, so just like, oh, okay, what's happening here? Here being, this, I don't know exactly where to point, but then it's not me and it's not personal and it's fine, but it still feels like what I would normally label as anxiety. And so in that sense, it's very disappointing to the mind or this expectation um, that it should be different, but also it's completely different because it's not sticky or it's not personal. It's just what's
It feels
happening.
like maybe there's a mild thing there that's happening where you're trying to solve it by making it appear more impersonal to avoid the feeling of the anxiety sensations. Maybe.
Maybe give me a second. I think that's
And I know if
pointing.
you're at work and you're working and feeling anxiety comes up and people are all around you, that you may not be able to do that at work all the time. But there's sort of like maybe a part of you that doesn't want the anxiety feelings. So you might be pushing it away a little to make it impersonal so you don't have to feel it or to control it at least to box it into a certain place, maybe.
So some of that does happen, and sometimes that is seen. They're like pushing it away. It's like, that's also a grasping or like inverse grasping, right? That's not just allowing.
You probably have some very subtle thought there saying that shouldn't be happening now at work or no, something subtle, some kind of no or some kind of um, this isn't cool or not right now or this
Yeah,
is
yeah, okay.
affecting my ability to do work or who knows? I don't
I
know.
think everything you're saying does happen. The question I have feels deeper than that, which is um, I see a way in which, again, lack of good words, I could completely let go into this,
Hmm.
right? So it like even those thoughts, everything you were just describing, even that could just be, but even there's some like resistance to doing that. And I guess I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from. Like why?
Control.
Hmm.
It's old control because you have a logical mind like I do, and you really want to solve stuff. So there's a subtle, you don't want to feel helpless there.
Hmm.
Like there's a control, there's a um
Yeah.
I
Okay.
could
But
let
so,
go of all this stuff, but then what will happen? You probably have some version of
yes.
that coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. And even as we're speaking, it's because what's weird is from the perspective of letting go into this, there's no problem. And it maybe sounds conceptual when I say that. I don't mean that as a conclusion. I mean that as just like directly observationally true. And
There also
so,
is no letting go into this. Letting go into this
mm,
is Sean letting go, as opposed to just seeing it for what it is, and then it releases. If you say, I'm
mm,
letting go into this, I'm trying, that is also a subtle version of control. Then
yeah,
you're not seeing anymore, you're grasping, you're trying to manipulate it in a way. Now,
yeah,
I'm
okay,
talking very subtly. I'm talking about when you're looking really deep. I'm
yep,
not talking about surface level stuff
yeah,
here
yeah,
because you said it feels deeper than that. So
yes,
I'm talking about there's some contraction there that's if I let go of the plate spinning, it's all going to crash.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And even that sense of it's all going to crash
the way you're saying letting
is just
go, there's when people talk, sometimes you can tell by the way they say the thing is what their
yes,
internal thing is happening. So when you say I'm I'm thinking I can let go or whatever the words you said, to me that gives me an idea that inside your mind, coming from your perspective, there is a part of Sean that needs to let go, that needs to make himself let go,
mm,
as opposed to just ungrasping and seeing what the processes are, and then by seeing that
okay,
it ungrasps itself.
yeah. It feels like right now that the part right of here that feels like it needs to let go is actually coming from a sense of, but there should be more than this. Meaning when it
That's a thought.
lets go of
There's
itself.
you right there at that
Okay.
urge, right there at
Yeah.
that urge you just mentioned is the selfing mechanism itself. Look at that
Okay.
directly instead of the things that need to be let go.
Yes. Yes.
Look
Okay.
at the
Okay.
urge that's there to try to let go. You just said it right there. So that's you're looking right at that. But you're taking your attention instead of taking it directly on the urge, there's part of your attention that's being put back into the objectiveness of things, of trying to let go of something, as opposed
Mm,
to seeing the mechanism that is trying to grab.
okay.
So look directly at that. We talked about that a couple weeks ago when I said I made those recordings and one of them got messed up. And then but what I said, this is the same thing. It's
Okay.
the
Okay.
same thing.
Let me take just like 30 seconds. I'm
Sure.
just going to almost speak it out loud to try to trace that mechanism because that sounds very accurate, right? So there's a sense of wanting to let go or just like uh, an act of doing that should happen. It's not, I don't think coming from, in this case, a need to control. That's a big one for me in general, but it's more coming, well, I guess it is kind of, but it's it's thinking that something more should happen than just what happens when uh
What
I'll
do you
say it
think?
lets go of itself. That's not, those are bad words, but
What do
and
you
it
think should happen? What is thought that should happen right there?
okay, what should happen
That's where the
is
belief is.
yes, yes.
What do you think should happen when that's happening?
What should happen is oh it's slippery. Give me like 20 seconds here.
No rush.
Yeah, there should be some sort of a positive confirmation that letting go has happened, or but that would require a thought or something else to be the thing.
What confirmation should there be? What should that confirmation look like to
Hmm.
Sean?
Yeah, yeah, because it's trying to compare it to all the times when things do feel clear, like, oh, there's no, like, this isn't real, not in a literal sense, just, phenomenologically. Um,
What does it
yes.
feel like when it doesn't feel real and it feels good? What does that feel like? What's happening in your experience when that happens, when you notice it?
Let me try to actually report from observation rather than memory. Hang on.
Did it be an ungrasping?
Yeah, but I want to put it a few more into my own words because ungrasping is just thrown around a lot. Not in like it's bad, but it's not
No, I
specific.
got you. Got you.
Um, so yeah, what actually is happening is there's not really a sense of controlling anything. There's a sense of seeing everything, but without it needing to be one way or another or different from how it is, including thoughts or senses of it needing to change. It's just kind of this like, there's not exactly literally accurate, but it's almost like keep releasing back. Not back spatially, but I don't know what back means, but just detaching from this, from like the being. It
Seeing.
feels like the stakes have dropped. Like there's no longer any skin in the game. Like there's no, it doesn't matter what happens. I don't know. That's
I think when you say there's no skin in the game, I think that's ungrasping because that is when you're seeing in that moment,
hmm.
you're seeing the conditioning for what it is, so it appears more impersonal. When the urge
Yeah.
has you, then you're Sean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something, controlling something.
Right. Yeah, it feels very much otherwise like I'm not trying. It's just like, right, it's just happening. But that's the comparison point
Hmm.
that this expectation latches onto. It's like, right now doesn't feel like that. Therefore, I or something needs to let go.
I think it's just a thought. There's a should thought there in those moments that
Okay.
something should let go,
Yeah.
or something should happen. Okay, I've felt this ungrasping before. It felt impersonal. Something should happen where it makes it ungrasping again. There's the urge right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
urge, the thought, the grab to control.
And
Because
it's
you felt the
fueled.
difference, you felt the
Hmm.
flow, you felt the ungrasping. Now
Hmm.
there's grasping. You're, why the fuck am I grasping? I
Yeah.
need to do something about this grasping.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That makes the grasping,
Right. Which is very ironic, but
grasp me harder, baby. You know, that's what it does. It like grabs it, and that's the but see, there's still nothing to do. When that grasping starts happening, there's nothing to do. Any movement of do is Sean,
yeah.
is the urge trying to make something be a different way than it is.
Yes. Yes.
Accepting it fully the way it is in that moment will make the more impersonal nature of the conditioning come up. So you just have to look really closely. Like the next time it doesn't feel like grasping and you feel really clear, really look closely at that moment.
Yeah.
Not like you're trying to figure it out though. Just
No, no, just like
relaxingly, passively,
observation, just like
just
passive.
really look at why is it like this? Or
Yes.
this feels good. What's happening? And then
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
next time you also have the other thing, really look closely at what thought might be creeping in or what like it'll be some sort of control thought, some subtle thought there, or some
Yes.
belief will come up about yourself. And of course, belief is made up of a packet of thoughts or one solid thought that feels so real that it is a belief. You know,
Yeah. No, this
not sure
is
what that is for you, but it is some version of control
all it should be yeah.
or fear of helplessness. It could be an opposite thought of control. It could be if I don't solve this, everything falls apart, or whatever it is. It could
Yeah,
be
yeah. No,
something
I
like
mean it
that.
can be more. I've seen flavors of all of those.
Yeah.
But they all are fueled by the assumed assumed reality or premise that there is something that needs to be different. And I think that's what's behind this is like that's what gives validity to the sense of I need to control or I need to whatever is because but because things need to be different from how this is. And I think what you just said of during times when it's clear, really honestly seeing why. And I've tried to do a little bit of this. I'm still playing around with it. Maybe I'll have more to report in a week or two. This will be like kind of the wrap up of this. But it seems to be again, yeah, just nothing actually changes about the raw data of experience.
Yeah.
But what gets encoded to memory is that it felt different. But it's not actually that anything was different, it's that I wasn't grasping. And then if I'm comparing to that later, I forget that or I try the memory is misleading, basically. That's
Well,
yeah.
that's what's okay. That's what the identification is. It feels like a solidity. But if Sean is a thought, and then, in my best moments or my clearest moments, there's no center here whatsoever.
Right.
I don't know how it is for Almar or Josh or Angelo. They may not do this at all, but for me, what I do is there'll be complete centerlessness. Like there's nothing referring here. I mean, think about it, if there's no center experience here, none. And I am literally the environment and everything appears in it and the centerlessness is gone and the non-dual for me is here all the time, but for Anata, for me, the grasping right here, the hook, the little fish hook that wants to remain here and now, that's a tiny grasping. So if
Yeah,
that
yeah.
tiny grasping is there, then in thought in the world, there will be some grasping too. But when I'm centerless, which happens to me, I kind of flux in and out of that at different moments. So
Hmm.
someone like Alma or Angelo, especially Angelo, maybe he's fucking centerless all the time. I've talked to this about him about this before. We've had like me and you were having, we've had a really deep discussion about this, and it was awesome, but it was also like it's so insanely hard to talk about it because it's
Yeah.
a movement that's happening, and he's like, I can't really say what I am. He says something like paraphrasing, I can't really tell you what I am because I don't even see it that way anymore.
Hmm.
And it
Hmm.
was like a whole thing, but complicated. But what I'm saying is, for you, what I'm saying is the identification when there's something here and now, whatever version of solidity that is. If somebody fully believes, let's say they're Sean, completely mind identified with Sean, then everything is out to get him or everything needs to be controlled.
Yep.
Then when you have the presence of the first awakening, you see, oh, I'm not presence, and then there's a flipping. And then time and space is the non-dual part of it. When that collapses, then things here feel here. Then Anata is the fish hooking for me personally. I'll just say people may describe it differently, but for it's like the fish hooking of remaining in a here and now. And for me, that disappears a lot, and then sometimes it reappears. And I've noticed in my own belief work and my own thing that when I that fish hooking here and now is still here, there can be grasping onto things. But when I feel
Mm.
centerless, there's absolutely zero suffering because there's no one here to suffer. It's completely centerless. You cannot suffer if you are the environment. Everything that happens
Yeah.
is you. So where's the suffering? Even death. So I've noticed that, and I'm wondering in my own work, like I tell y'all in my own work, I wonder do someday it just stays centerless, and that's the end of the line as far as
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying for you is that urge. There is a grabbing here. That urge for here now. Then that means there's a Sean identification that wants to do something. And when you're not grasping, when you feel flowy, then there's not that you're centerless or anything yet, but there is a part of you that's letting go more as the field there. So when you have to look in your direct experience and see those urges grabbing in whatever way they're grabbing with a thought and the identification that's glued to that thought, in whatever way it shows up.
Yeah. Part of what's also confusing. Sorry, I was going to be done, but you just made me think of one more thing. Um,
Oh, we're fine. We got plenty of time.
is and this is where right for each person it's totally different. I might be atypical in that I the overwhelming majority of, I think I've mentioned this before, of my meditation and focus was very concretely perceptual. And so a lot of that has dropped away way before thoughts. And so I cannot know if what you're describing is the same thing that I experienced the light version of, but essentially that centerlessness, but not in an identity sense, in a very literal sense. So I'm just talking about subjective perception, no metaphysical claims, but just it's not uncommon and has been for a while now where I can look with attention here and it's there isn't anything here, right? Like this is just happening. And I think, but this is part of the doubt or the expectations is then what happens like, wait, but then why am I still getting so sucked into thoughts and into the thought stream? It's kind of like actually one of two things will happen. Either it's just very ordinarily clear, like no fireworks, just like, oh yeah, there's just nothing here. So why do I keep getting sucked into attention? Or so it's when either that happens, or there's a looking like, oh, there's nothing here, so I could just let go. I'm saying let go. That's sloppy wording. It's more of just there's no need to be grasping, right? So if I see there's nothing here, it can result in there's no need to be grasping. But then very quickly there's a sound like, no, no, that's dangerous. And so
So
either,
this is broadly what's happening with you, and then we can go deeper. So if you have a very solidified version of Sean, right, that's
yep,
here in experience, and it's like I'm a separate person in the world, and I am navigating this world, and it's outside of me, and every blah 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 blah.
yep,
So the seeking mechanism you have is relaxing, but
mm,
it's not totally ungrasping. But it
hmm
is relaxing the grip. I can see
hmm
it by the way you talk. You have to be okay with that process of that relaxing taking a while because there's a
mm,
minor part of your seeking mechanism that's saying my fist is unclenching, but it's like right here, and that's not good enough. What do I
yeah,
need to do to make it do this? But doing
yes,
that makes it
yes,
go like this again.
yes, yes. This is yeah,
That's why it's just seeing. Because if you just see, oh, I'm starting to grasp, oh, now there's a relaxation. So any attempt by the seeker part of you to go, this is taking too long. What the fuck's going on? And then it's like, But if you see it, it relaxes more and more.
yeah,
Centerless experience would be when I say hands off.
mm,
How can you have hands if you're fucking centerless? That's the metaphorically, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you're centerless, how can you grab anything? But there's gradations to that. That's what realization is.
Yes, yes, yeah.
But people who are seeking, they're trying to jump ahead and go, I want realization now. I want full
hmm
fucking enlightenment. I want blah 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 blah. And they make all these claims about what they think it is. And when it's not happening for them, they're doubting. Now they're going back to clinching because they're doubting. If you just relax in the space that you are,
Yeah,
then that clinching starts to release.
yeah,
If you try to control that fucker, clinch.
yep,
These clinch, release, open, close. It's that over and over again. And when you start to feel really flowy and good, you've opened a whole fucking lot. Then something happens, you're like, fuck, and you're like, again. And the
yeah,
amount what you're doing now is a very subtle version of that because you have released and seen so much. Now you just have to let that be what it is and stop trying to jump to the end of the centerlessness.
yeah. That's
And
exactly.
ironically, the more you do that, the more you allow that to relax, the more centerless you become.
Yeah,
That's the path. But the path is all right here in the moment,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
happening in what you already are.
yeah.
So there's
You
no
you just
fucking where
called
to
it out.
get. There's nothing to grab. The grabbing is simply conditioning in whatever form it takes, whatever belief the patchwork of your algorithm is. That's the grasping. That's the clinching.
Yep. Okay.
So you don't even worry about. I urge everyone to watch Alma's retreat talk that she did, where she on her channel, where she has. I posted in the group a while back, and I think Lisa did too again. But there's a part in that retreat talk, and I posted just that part of the talk in the group too, just the part I'm talking about. It's hard to do because the mind wants to clench and grab and say, I want this to happen now, like you said. But honest to God, the more you can remain in the alignment of presence right now and just look at what's clenching,
hmm
those insights come by themselves Forget about the fucking insights. Forget about reality. Forget about
Mhm.
realization and enlightenment. Forget all that. It's just words, just ideas.
Yeah.
In immediacy, looking at this stuff like you're looking, just notice the clenching and let it unclench and stay right there as it unclenches. And then one day there may be a insight that's big or small or medium or whatever. And you're like, oh, and just let it keep doing its thing. There's
Yeah.
nothing, the whole path is trying to make insight happen. And if it's
Yep.
not happening, then there's doubt thoughts and it's got you. It's got
Yeah.
you in clinch.
Yeah, that's very clear.
And
Thank you.
none of that is in a line. There's none of that in a straight line, right?
No, no, it's all yeah.
No, it's all right here. You're either clinching or not clinching, but it's happening in presence all the time. That's always here. And enlightenment is seeing, oh, it's always here. I don't have to go fucking get presence. I don't have to go get it. It is what I am. I'm just doing various versions of clinching and conditioning. And so for me, the web of beliefs that we have in the world is the clinching. That's the algorithm. And that's why I call it that. Because that's just
Mhm.
the way I see it. Other people might not agree. I don't give a shit because I got my suffering reduced by doing it this way. So I don't care what the masters say. This is what it's alive and breathing in me, which I think they would agree with. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it's the same for you. And that's why
Yeah.
it's the same. That's why Angelo calls this shit simply always awake because it is
Oh
always
yeah.
awake. It's always awake and always has been. Every single person in here is already awake, is already that stuff. What mode of clinching, conditioning has crunched you down to not believe that? Deconstruct those beliefs. You're simply always awake.
I've somehow never actually thought about the name of his
Yeah.
YouTube thing. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying to you is you're working on this stuff. Just realize, am I clinching? There's nowhere to
Hmm.
get. There's nothing to
Right.
see that's going to make me jump to the end and release. It's like you're just doing it now.
Yep.
And it's very subtle.
Yeah.
So just watch for that part of it, you know?
Hmm. Cool.
Watch this back because I don't even know what the hell I said. But there's something good in there that you can take when you're looking at those exact moments.
Yeah.
Maybe record this conversation part with your phone, and then when you're working with that stuff, re-listen to this part of our conversation and then look.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is what fucking belief work is, people. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is how you uncover your bullshit. It's just like this.
Hmm.
This is belief work. This is what I talk about in the group. It's what I talk about in my videos. There's no specialness to this. You already special. You're already awake. You're already this fucking thing. Look at the conditioning. Look at the algorithm that's holding you back. It's not even holding you back. I mean, it is as a person, but
Holding you hostage. I don't know. It's
yeah, but this grasping doesn't mean that Sean gets everything he wants.
no. Yeah. Right. Right.
The
But
body mind Sean will die. Will get sick and die someday, or it'll get
mhm.
hit by a truck really fast, or whatever. But what I'm saying is, as becoming the seeing from the other way, you can let that be what it is. And you're in full acceptance of that. And then you're in full acceptance of the joy and the other hard shit and whatever happens. And then there's just gratitude because you get to experience both. It may not be
Yeah.
gratitude 100% of the time. I don't have gratitude 100% of the time, but you know, yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about all the belief stuff. What we just did back and forth,
Hmm.
doing that with your mind. That's why I always use you as an example in the group. When I started this group, this is what I wanted it to be. This is what I know is powerful and works. And that's why I was trying to get people to participate because it doesn't require people to be in that group constantly reading all the stuff that I put in there or the stuff that I write or the stuff I share. It is you're dipping in there, you're asking some direct questions because you're doing the work on yourself in the moment. You're asking me some questions and I'm helping you, and then you
Hmm.
go away or you put something else in there or whatever you do, and then we meet back here. We go over it. You go back to this, uncover.
Hmm.
This is what I want everybody to do. This is what I wish everybody would do. And that's why it's a little like been frustrating for me when people who don't participate at all, because I'm like, dude, if you participated like this and step into that uncomfortableness, you will uncover all kinds of stuff. That's what I want people to do for themselves, not for me. So you're a fucking shining example of what I'm
For what it's
talking
worth,
about working with this stuff.
I'll just throw in my experience. It's never cl clear to me that doing this is going to help beforehand. It often feels like, there's no point. And then every time you point something out, I'm like, oh, okay, that happens. So I don't know if it's relevant to other people, but it's not like I come in confidently knowing like, okay, this is what I'm going to say and we'll figure it out that it'll work. It's just like somehow, I guess just from me speaking, you're able to
It's
cut.
not even me and you. It's our conditions arising together, solving something or talking, hashing out something, and then they're seeing. And then there's people in the Zoom right now who are listening to our conversations and they're seeing things about it. It's seeing. You're just seeing.
Hmm.
And then that's changing things. Your algorithm gets changed that way.